Hey Barry, thanks so much for joining me on the Property Careers Bulletin. I really appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Zamir.
I suppose sort of first question for you is, tell me a bit more about yourself and how we know each other.
How do we know each other? It's a good question. If I'm not wrong, one of our very first conversations actually took place when you were traveling in Nepal, and I think you were maybe in Kathmandu,
Yes, yeah, I was.
in an internet cafe in Kathmandu, and you reached out to me and you'd found us online, and you were in the middle of in the middle of two jobs, or wondering what your next move was going to be, and we just connected. I don't say that lightly. I really mean it. The minute we spoke for the first time, I remember us just connecting, and we spoke again thereafter, and a couple of more times, and eventually you returned from traveling. I think you've done something unbelievable, like 19 countries in 12 months. Well,
Yeah, it was like 35 countries, and then I remember Kathmandu, the signal was terrible,
right.
and I was panicking that the signal was going to cut out at any point. When I was in that interview with you, I was like
Yeah.
sweating at the.
I just enjoyed the conversation, and as I say, we connected well, and when you got back, we got together, and that was over 3 years ago.
Yeah, long time.
Amazing.
Long time. So, how did you start your career in recruitment? What got you on this journey of recruitment?
In 2003, I was living and working in North Leeds.
Mm-hmm.
I was working as an estate agent for William H. Brown, part of the Sequence Group, and I used to get either a flyer through the office letterbox or a advert in the back of the old Negotiator magazine for a recruitment company talking about different jobs in the area, and I eventually reached out to them. They were then Alan Mead Recruitment. Now they're known as the AMR Group. I then reached out to the local office of the AMR Group, and I said what I was doing, and they said, come and meet me and have a chat and get to know me, and we might have something for you. And what happened was, during my conversations with them, when they were trying to find me a new job, they asked me to join them. And I was grateful and appreciative and very flattered. But I said, thank you, but no thank you. I'm in a estate agency and I'm really enjoying it. And I proceeded to go on to a new role that they had actually placed me in for a different business in Harrogate. So I'd moved from North Leeds up to Harrogate in a new role. But within 3, maybe 4 months, it transpired it perhaps wasn't the right position for me. So I got back in touch with the local office of the AMR Group, and they said, "Oh, the offer still stands. We'd like you to join us." So I did. I joined them in around 2003, and I spent 2 years working with them, covering Leeds and all of West Yorkshire. I mean, we also did a bit in other parts of Yorkshire, but it was mainly West Yorkshire, Leeds and Harrogate and York and surrounding areas, Wetherby. And we did a lot of recruitment. It was brilliant. It was a really good time, in fact. I mean, we started off, recruiting for Manning Stainton, for Russell Manning, and hunters for Keith and Kevin Hollinrake and Glynis, and we did a lot of recruitment for these businesses back in the sort of the early days of those companies, particularly Hunters. It was the very early days of Hunters. They only had maybe 4 offices at the time, but the very first hires I actually made, I remember it quite clearly. I phoned Jo, who was my regional or my area director from my days at William H. Brown.
Nice.
And we left on great terms, and actually we still get on today, over 20 years later. And I said, "Jo, it's Barry. Oh, Barry, how are you? Great to hear from you. Are you coming back?" She said. And I said, "No, why? Have you got a job?" And she said, "Yes, I've got a few jobs." I said, "Great, I'll help you fill them." So right away, I picked up 3 or 4 jobs, and we did a lot of recruitment for William H. Brown as well. And that was between 2003 and 2005. At which point I moved to London. Came to London in 2005, and I'd spoken to the chairman of the AMR Group, who offered me the opportunity to have my own territory, my own franchise in London, which I took in 2005, and I ran for approximately 10 years with them. I was with them until about 2014, 2015, when I went and set up, wholly on my own, 100% my own business, not a franchise, and I haven't looked back.
How long were you in agency before you went into recruitment?
Estate agency, I did sales and lettings in Leeds and Harrogate for somewhere between 2.5 and 3 years.
What was your driving factor for getting into estate agency? Was it just you saw the OTs and the income, or was it dealing with people? What were the things which gave you that drive to get into the industry?
So what happened was I moved from Glasgow, where I'm from originally, to live in Leeds, and I went to university.
Yeah.
I got into Leeds Metropolitan University, and after my first year, I just realised it's perhaps not the right place for me, and I just didn't get on, and I didn't enjoy it, and it was costing me a lot of money to be there through accommodation and fees and student loans, and rather than I sort of looked ahead 4 years down the line or 3 years down the line to realise I'm going to be in so much more debt, and am I going to get out of this what I need? So I left university and I took a trip to California to spend some time with my uncle, my mum's brother, and we were close. We had a relationship, but we weren't like we weren't. He lived however many thousand miles away, and 8 hour time difference, and we didn't have a very close relationship, but we knew each other well, obviously. But I flew over there to spend a bit of time with him, just to take a bit of space to try and reflect on where my life was going at this stage. And I went for 2 weeks, and I came back 2 months later, and he helped me in a way that it's hard to explain. It puts a lump in my throat, but in a way that nobody's ever helped me. He just believed in me, and he just supported me and bought into me and enabled me and championed me. And today we're now over 20 years on since my first trip to see him in California, and I've been more than a dozen times, and we speak now weekly, and he's my uncle, he's my best friend, he's been like a father to me, and so much more. And just some of the things that he did, some of the very little things he did, but they were so little but so big, just kind of changed my life. And when I was quite lost and I dropped out of university and I was doing all the wrong things, and I had just unhealthy habits and being a kid with no direction, it was incredible to have somebody put their hand on my shoulder and say, "You've got this, you can do this, I believe in you." And we talked a lot when I was with him about property and what they call real estate in California, and he had a great interest in property, and we used to go and see a lot of houses. So in those 2 months I was with him, we did a lot of viewings of residential property and some commercial, but it opened my eyes to a world that I didn't really know existed. And then I came back to live in Leeds after my 2 months in Los Angeles, and I wrote 40 letters to 40 estate agents asking for interviews. I got 4 interviews and 2 job offers, and
there you go.
The rest is history.
It's good to have those kind of mentors. It's so important at pivotal points of life. You don't have those mentors in your life, you kind of don't know where to go, really. And with family members, and it's difficult. It is difficult, especially society gets you into a way of like with happy families, and sometimes you need to find those mentors when you can, and having those people like your uncle are so important in life. It's so important. And it was like my grandfather as well. He was like my number one champion. Like he would champion on all the way, and they never forget. They would say, "Oh, good for you, proud of you. Oh, what are you doing there and doing that?" And just asking those questions, I think are key, aren't they?
It's And listen, my dad left when I was 9, and that happens, unfortunately. separation and divorce happens.
Yeah.
But what happened is that he didn't just leave my mum; he left me. Whereas it didn't need to be like that. So
No.
I didn't have from the age of 9. I didn't have a dad in my life. So from 9 till the age of meeting my uncle, properly meeting my uncle, really getting to know him, which was when I was 20, 21, maybe 22. I was just, to an extent on my own. And I'd always been told pretty negatively by teachers and headmasters and other male influences in my life, or I was told, you're not going to amount to much, you're not going to achieve very much, that's not the way to do things, that's not this. Also negative. And eventually you form these sort of limited beliefs.
Yeah.
Where you're told so frequently by these men who me as a young man I was meant to look up to them, told me so frequently, you're not going to amount to much, you're not going to do this, you can't do that, and all this finger pointing. And the funny thing is, something that my uncle has always said to me, when someone's pointing their finger at you, they're actually pointing 3 fingers, if you see 1, 2, 3 fingers back at themselves.
Yeah.
So they're telling you that you can't do this and you can't do that, but actually they're telling themselves. And it was they just suppressed my belief through my teenage years. And the turning point, I remember it like it was yesterday. I was in his house, in my uncle's house, and he ran a fantastic business, a brilliant business. And I used to help him out when I was there over the first period, those first 2 weeks. It became 2 months. And it was like 10 o'clock in the morning, and he was up and about, and I was lying in bed, I was dozing. And I just heard him shout from the kitchen or wherever he was in the house, "Where's my boy? Where's my boy?" He was looking for me.
Yeah.
And I just jumped out of bed, like, I'm here.
Yeah.
Like I was moved. I felt something that I'd never felt in my life before. Nobody had ever referred to me in that way, like just in such a term of endearment. Where's my boy?
Yeah.
And that still over 20 years later is in my head today. It's such a powerful moment in my life, such a massive turning moment in my life.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's so important to have those people. And so you went from California back to Leeds,
Back
right?
to Leeds, got into a state agency, worked for William H. Brown, and then
Moved to
the AMR group for a couple of years, and moved to London in 2005. And I've been in property recruitment basically since 2003 until today, but in London since 2005. So for 20 years.
When you went from Leeds to London, how did you go about finding new clients? And were you starting off from ground zero? Did you have new clients?
From ground zero. I knew nobody when I came. I mean, I say I knew nobody. I knew half a dozen people, but I remember I picked up one of the it was called the London Property News. It was a magazine that used to go to all the estate agents in London, and it used to go to a lot of the homes the estate agents would advertise in. And it got dropped through the apartment that we rented in London, and I've still got it downstairs actually in the office where I went through the magazine cover to cover, and I called everyone and I wrote down the name of the estate agent, of the manager, of the business owner, and then I started to write to them, and I wrote to them and I asked them for vacancies, and I wrote to them and asked them for vacancies, and from nothing. We had a very at the time in the part of London that I was concentrating on, which was all the northwest London, north, central, a bit of west into Hertfordshire. We weren't known. The business, the AMR group, wasn't known there at all, in fact. And from nothing, I built that business up to probably at the time was the best or the second best franchise within the group. And at the time there was roughly 12, maybe 14 different franchises within the business, and the AMR London office was either the top or the second top franchise within the business.
And how many staff did you have at any point?
At its peak, we had me plus 6 recruiters and office and admin support.
Nice. So what made you go from AMR to starting, I suppose, your own Collins Property Recruitment and going on your journey of going it alone, I suppose, away from being a franchise?
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons for that. And listen, I was very grateful to AMR for what they did for me. But franchising, in that sense, in my opinion, is a very, very difficult business to operate, because it's the way it's operated is down to the actual individual. If you're franchising at Domino's Pizza or you're franchising a Subway, there's a formula.
Yeah.
And every Domino's Pizza in the world makes a pepperoni pizza with the same amount of pepperoni, whether it's a medium or whether it's a large. Subway, every foot long, or with meat and cheese and salad, is made in the same way in Subway in London, and Subway in California, and Subway in Australia, and Domino's is the exact same. In a recruitment business where it's sales and a service, you've got a procedures manual and you've got sort of the principles and the fundamentals, but ultimately it's really down to the individual.
Yeah.
And for many people within the AMR group at the time, it was just very much a lifestyle business. So they would have some of the franchises would just be one or maybe 1.5 people, and they were happy to do a deal a week.
Yeah.
And it was a very nice life for them. Others, like my franchise and one of the other franchises, or two of the other franchises, really wanted to grow a business. So what happened invariably was we'd go to this annual general meeting that was hosted every year, and talk about marketing and social media and events and database and spend and monthly, annual expenditure and so on. And we could never agree on what to spend and what to do. And you had the ambitious ones, myself in that category, who wanted to do more and invest more and grow more. And you had ones who were successful but in their own way. And they would think that £10 was too much money, and I would think that £100 was too much money.
Yeah.
So nothing ever got achieved, nothing ever changed. And every single year, we'd have the same conversations about, at the time, Twitter or Facebook or new website or new database, and just nothing ever changed. And it was like, it got to the point where I was being held back because I really wanted to do something quite special and really grow a business. And I'm very passionate about marketing. I'm very passionate about digital marketing and brand and social media. And I couldn't control any of that because I had to do what everybody else ultimately wanted to do. It was a democracy.
Yeah.
So whatever everybody wanted to do, we had to do, whether I agreed with it or not. It became frustrating. And the chairman at the time definitely took his foot off the gas, and he wanted to travel and see more of the world and live abroad. And fair to him, that's what he got to in his life. But I was right up for it. I was 25 to 35 years old there. I was like in a really key part of my career, and I really wanted to push forward, and I was being held back. So we had a very amicable conversation, and we agreed to go our own ways.
Fine. And then what did you learn from AMR to make Collins Property Recruitment? What aspects of that job, the do's and don'ts, I suppose, of running your business into bringing it into Collins and Property Recruitment?
I mean, there's lots of do's. There's lots of do's. At the AMR group, we really did things properly. We did things for the right reasons. We really, we cared about our clients. We cared about our candidates. We cared about doing the right thing. Reputation was really important to that company, and still I'm sure it is today, and definitely is to us. But we've just really turned up the heat and turned up the gas on brand and marketing and events and social media and a better database and better technology. I've got full autonomy now of software that we use and different technology that we bring in to help the business today run. And one of the slight complications when it was a franchise was, even if you had a client who was a London client, but they had offices in Bristol or Bath or Reading or Birmingham, we had to hand them over because it was outside of our area.
Yeah.
So I might have won the client in London and got the mandate in London, but it became a job for somebody else to fill. And that's, a bit of a problem because I can't promise that client a certain level of service or a certain experience when I'm not in control of that experience or that level of service. So today we've got much more control over sort of the full 360 journey and the full experience for the client.
I think that's the thing as well. Service standard is the key thing. There's so many recruiters out there. There's some very good ones and there's some very bad ones. And I think that service standard is a standout point, and that's how you can regulate higher fees, because people like to deal with you. They know your standard. You take care. You've got good customer service, and you've got a passion for what you do. And you're not. Yes, you are of course doing it for the money, but at the same time, you're doing it to help people.
Yeah, we're very much a premium service, and we're okay with that. I'm quite happy with it. We're not for everyone.
No,
there's lots of businesses that either don't want to or can't pay our fees, and that's also fine because there's recruiters that they can use. It just won't be us. And I have that very open and very honest conversation with people at the start when they tell me what they're looking for and what they've done so far and what their budget is. I'll be honest with them. If we're not for them and they're not for us, I'll tell them, and they're mostly grateful for that.
Yeah,
we don't take on jobs that we don't believe we're aligned to the business. I'm not saying that we fill every job, because naturally it's not possible, but we really want to be aligned with the company's sort of values, and that's super important to us. But the element of customer service and reputation is absolutely everything. It's everything.
I think as well with the volume side of things, it's better that way, because you can spend your time working on that role, full detail. When I worked for other businesses as a recruiter, I'd work on 70 roles, which is fine, but you can't deliver a good service standard all the time. You're gradually just sinking, because you can't do anything like that. So if you work on 2 or 3 good roles a month and deliver exceptional service, you'll make more money in the long run anyway.
100%. And what I have noticed in the last 20 plus years is I've seen other property recruiters come, make a big noise, fill lots of jobs, and then go. They don't survive. They don't survive, and it takes time. It takes time to really build up a following, to really build up a network, to build up a reputation, to build up a community. That when you call somebody, they know it's you, and they're taking your call.
Yeah.
Thankfully today our business and our reputation and our brand has all of that. But I agree with you. Too many jobs, you spread yourself far too thin. I'd rather go, an inch wide and a mile deep, and be really well known. And even though property is a niche within recruitment, when people say to me, "Oh, yeah, I'm a property recruiter, and we have a property recruitment business," even within property, there's niches within niches. You don't need to just be an estate agency recruiter or a property management recruiter. You can take a niche within those sectors and really drill down and become the specialist, become the expert in that space.
That's going on to candidates who I deal with. They always say, "Oh, can I do other things?" And you go, "Yeah, there's loads of different jobs within property. It may take you time to find the right role. If you want to do something slightly different, like business development, or something like build to rent, if you're going from a estate agency to build to rent." But it's interesting. There's loads of different avenues you can go down in property. It's not just one dimensional.
Very much so. But like with everything, it takes time.
Yeah.
And there really is. And I know it's an old quote, but there's no such thing as an overnight success.
No, it does take time. And talking about overnight success, so where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? Where do you see the business in 5 years' time?
The way it's going today, if it carries on this way for the next 5 years, I'd be delighted. Today we've got a number of great recruiters, and we're in 5 core markets within property. So that is estate agency and new homes, property and block management, commercial and investment, build to rent and PBSA, and also we do a lot of business support, which is admin, EA, finance and marketing. They're like 5 core sectors. We'll strengthen in each of those sectors. We'll do more across the UK. I've noticed that since COVID, the UK has become significantly smaller.
Yeah.
some of the biggest placements we've done in the last few years have actually been in Leeds and in Manchester. Some very significant placements, C-suite level hires. We will continue in the direction that we're going in, and we'll strengthen the team. We'll hopefully bring in new recruitment partners. We're looking to bring in ideally half a dozen within the first 6 months of next year. So 6 new people within the next 6 months. Provided that people can deliver the same level of service that we're known for, and be authentic and genuine and care about what they do, then we're in a great place. I actually feel our brand and our reputation and our digital footprint is greater now than it ever has been. And I actually feel that now is our time more than ever before. I really mean that. I've got so much experience. I've got such a great team of people. I'm really excited for the future.
I think everybody brings something a bit different to the table as well, and different advice, and that's always good, isn't it? And you can kind of build on that, and everybody's got new ideas, and
everyone gets on.
Yeah,
we've got a team of people that really care.
That's rare, to be fair. It's really rare.
They care about they care about what they do. They care about who they do it for, and they care about me. I genuinely feel that the people that I've got in the business today they've all got my back. They all care about me, and they all care about the brand that they represent. So I'm very lucky.
Good. And what advice would you give a recruiter who's starting off in the industry now?
I think it comes back to what I said, a couple of minutes ago. It takes time. Don't think with any job, especially recruitment, that you can be successful in a year or 2 years. You'll get some wins and you'll do some deals, of course you will, and you'll make some money. But don't be too hard on yourself. The market ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
And you need to be good in a tough market. If you can survive in a tough market, you'll be great You'll be great in a better market. So my advice would be probably to get into one of the bigger businesses, and work your way up.
Yeah.
And get some good training, and learn how to use the phone.
Yes.
Just learn how to use the phone. I'm amazed how many people still today don't want to use the phone. I would say, have you called them? Well, no, I've sent them a WhatsApp. Well, have they replied? No, I'll send them an email. Have they replied? No, I'll send them a text. Have they replied? No, I'll send them a LinkedIn message. Just phone them.
I sent a dove.
I've sent a dove. Just phone them.
Yeah.
The art of just picking up the phone is really being lost, unfortunately. Just talking to people. I'm so passionate about it. If you can go on my LinkedIn, you'll see a lot of the articles, a lot of the posts I write are just about conversation, just being able to have conversation that so many people can't have, or don't want to have, or are scared to have. Pick up the phone. If you're starting out now in recruitment, learn how to pick up the phone, talk to people, build relationships, and be memorable. And remember who you're talking to. Write down little notes. I spoke to Zamir, and this is what he likes, and this is what his hobbies are. And he mentioned he's not in tomorrow because it's his son or his daughter or his wife's birthday, whatever it is. Write down little notes about people so that when you keep talking to them over the years to come, you can reference, oh yes, and oh yeah, tomorrow's your daughter's birthday. Just little things. Active listening is so key. Do some really good listening, take some good notes, kind of old-fashioned sales, build up relationships, and become memorable, and become someone that they can trust, and somebody they can rely on, and somebody that they can talk to and confide in.
No, so true. I think as well, like I always say, no one is ever bigger than you. So if you speak to a managing director of a business, they're just a human being.
Yeah.
No one's not gonna, and if someone's rude to you, it's not your problem. It's that they're having a bad day, or they're just that kind of a person.
Just let them.
You don't want to work for them anyway.
Yeah, just let them.
It's interesting in that sense. And on the candidate side, what qualities do you think stand out to employers? How do you stand out in this kind of market? It's a very saturated market. It's a candidate-led market. What would you say are like 3 points which make a candidate stand out to employers?
essentially they're all probably the same thing, but somebody who's really personable, somebody who's very engaging, chatty, confident, well presented. Call me old-fashioned, but I think it's still essential to go to interviews, really well presented, perhaps not with a tie on, but certainly a suit or certainly a jacket, a blazer, and make the effort. The worst they can say to you is you don't need to dress like that when you get the job, or if you get the job. But make an effort to impress. Be memorable. Just little things. When someone walks into the room, stand up, eye contact, shake their hand. Just make an effort. Let them see that you've researched the company, ask good questions, look at it. There's so much information online. It's like information overload online. You will be able to find out information about the person that you're meeting, like lots of information about the person that you're meeting, and know who you're meeting, and have researched the types of properties that they have, and the market that they're in, and the locations that they're in, and what their market share is, and have lots of good questions ready. Always have good questions ready, even if throughout the interview you've asked the questions or they've answered the questions without you asking them. Still have more questions ready to ask. Just show a genuine interest in both the person and the business.
That makes sense. And now I met with David from Cavendish last couple of weeks ago, and he's given me this question to ask yourself: is what's your biggest criticism and why? This is about yourself, by the way.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Not of him. Probably a couple of things, if I can. One is I'm a perfectionist, and I've learned as I've got older that done is sometimes better than perfect. I've procrastinated on certain things over the years within the business or whatever in my personal life that I'm trying to get perfect, and actually it doesn't. What's perfect to me and what's perfect to somebody else is often two different things. So sometimes just doing it, or often just doing it, is better than waiting for what might be perfect. So that's definitely a criticism of myself that I'm working on actively. And I think the other thing that because of my nature of wanting to make everything perfect and make everything right and make sure things are done in a certain way, I've probably been, when I was younger, over controlling of a process or over controlling of a recruitment process. And what that means is I've hired too slowly because I've been scared, I guess, over the years that if I don't do it, it's not done right, or it's not done perfect. So for too many years, I've done too much, and people then only want to deal with me, or only want to talk to me, when at a time, maybe that was what I created that, I guess. Today, I'm surrounded by great people. I'm surrounded by great recruiters. I don't need to talk to every client. I don't need to handle every process. I don't need to be involved in every conversation. But I perhaps gave people that opportunity to talk to me always, whenever they wanted, and to perhaps overlook other people in the business. So I should have just let go of a bit of control, and I should have been able to be more confident that doing it is better than not doing it and waiting for it to be what might or might not be perfect in somebody else's opinion. They're probably in the same lane, these criticisms, this kind of strive for perfectionism and strive for sort of total control. They'll be in the same lane. But as a young guy coming to a big city, launching and growing your own business, you want everything to be, absolutely, spot on, which is partly, the positive side of that is, or the upside to that is, it's what's carried the business through to where we are today. We've been going. I've been trading in property recruitment in London for 20 years, through a number of very, very difficult economic times, and we're still going strong, and we're still highly regarded. We're still well known. We're still respected. We're still talked about. today there's nobody within the industry that I can't phone that won't take my call. And that's taken a long time to get to this point. So that's the good things to come out of the bad things, but there's definitely some not bad things, some criticisms that with today's wisdom that you gain as you get older, you would, if you were to go back in time, you would perhaps change.
Yeah, and that, I suppose that links to what's your why, and why do you do this? And this is outside of business.
I get it. I guess I do it for my kids. I do it for my kids, and I do it for my future and their future, and just security. Just the security of being able to do lovely holidays and have a comfortable house and have a plan. Like have a financial plan for myself and for them. I'm not saying that I'll ever be able to set them up so they don't have to work, and I'm not saying I'd want to do that either.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to give them a very good start in life. Not their children, and that's not my responsibility. That's their responsibility.
Yeah.
But certainly, they're my responsibility, and they're young. My son is 8. My daughter is 11. They've never seen me not work. I've never not worked my whole life. Ever since my very first job of working in a hairdresser on a Saturday afternoon, sweeping the floor and washing hair, from 8 till 8 every Saturday for £20 for the whole day. I was delighted. It was a great achievement. I was 14 or 15 years old, and it was my work ethic has always been there. And my kids can see that, and I think it's important that they see that every day I work. And listen, it's got some negative impacts, because even when I'm on holiday, when you're self-employed, you work. People believe when you're self-employed you get loads of time off, and people who aren't self-employed believe that when you are self-employed you get loads of freedom and loads of independence and loads of holidays. The truth is, you're actually never on holiday. You never switch off. The only time of the year when I would ever switch off is the period between Christmas and New Year. They're the only 5, 6, 7 days of the year. And even when we do go on holiday in the summer or Easter or October half term, I can be away, but I'm not switched off unless it's the weekend. So if we're away for a 7-day holiday, I can be on holiday Monday to Friday, and I could be relaxing and be with the kids, but I'll still be on the emails and working, and in my head working all the time. Unless it's the weekend, then I'm totally switched off. But yeah, why is for the kids? Why is for the kids? For Ruby and Nathan, this is they're everything.
And going back to you working constantly for 20 years, have you lived? Have you just worked? That's my question.
Yeah, it's a very, very pertinent question. Not enough. Not enough. But hopefully I'll change that.
I think it's one of those things, isn't it? Especially, like you said, when you're self-employed, it's like, if I don't get my next deal and if I don't do this, there's no income coming in. If you're employed, it'd be the same situation in the sales role. If I don't hit my target this month, I'll only be living off my basic wage of 18 grand. The same thing. But it's a thing where I think where we're told in society where we must do that, we must hit certain thresholds by certain periods of time of, I must buy a house at this point, I must do this by this point.
Yeah, it's a fear of failure. You're driven by the fear of failure.
Yeah. And it's very hard to get off that fear of failure. And I appreciate that. I think, every day I'm exactly the same as you. It's like, well, if I don't get 2 deals in the next 2 months, I'm going to be sinking. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. I like I think the pressure's good. If you don't have pressure in your life, then you're just You're just coasting.
as long as it's healthy.
Yes.
And listen, when you say have I lived, we've done some amazing things in the past 20 years as a family, and we've been to some great holidays and wonderful experiences. But I don't remember a time when I wasn't working. Every moment of that I've worked. I even remember on my honeymoon, placing a head of property management with a client in Northwest London, and I was in Argentina, and I was on the phone doing this deal. I was in Thailand once doing a significant deal. But it is who I am, and it probably is who I'll always be. But certainly I intend to, have more experiences or live more, but I'll still always work.
Be working as well. And how do you stay motivated and inspired as a leader?
I don't feel like I need to stay motivated or inspired as a leader because it just happens naturally.
Yeah.
I really love what I do. Do I love it all the time? No. Not gonna lie, I definitely don't love it all the time.
Especially some of our conversations.
I don't love it all the time, but 85, 90% of the time, absolutely. So it's motivating. It motivates me, and I know that I'm very good at it. I know that I've got a great following. I know that I've got a great reputation, a great network, and a strong name within the industry. So that motivates me, and that inspires me. And I don't need to do anything specific to stay motivated or inspired, because I love what I do.
Yeah.
And I love sharing the knowledge and sharing the ideas and trying to help others. But there's only so much you can do. I've learned that as well as I've got older and as I've got wiser. I can, it's the old, you can take the horse to the water. With my team, I can suggest, I can make the ideas, I can make the recommendations, I can show them what works, I can tell them what I've done. But I can't make anybody do anything. It's entirely up to them. Yeah. If they do or if they don't want to do it.
And that, I suppose, goes back to their why and why they're doing this.
Exactly.
That makes sense. And with hybrid working becoming more prominent, do you think the property industry is adapting, or how do you think it needs to adapt?
I think it needs to adapt in a slightly different way, where it just needs to be a bit more mature.
Yeah.
I don't believe in on a Friday you'll be at home every Friday, or on a Wednesday you'll be at home every Friday. I don't really believe in working from home exclusively or not going to an office. There's so much that's lost if you're not as a team, if you're not working together, if you're not collaborating. There's so much information that's just lost in translation for people working from home, either exclusively or on certain days. I would just like it to be at a place where businesses were just more trusting and more respectful of people, where they didn't have to make up appointments just to get some time for themselves. If someone's working a bit later one night and they're there in the office till 7 or 8, or even in some cases 9, 9:30, then the next morning they should come in at 11 or 12 if they want to.
Yeah.
Without that having to be a comment on where are you, or why are you not here? Take a holiday for that. Take a half day for those few hours. I think it's a hard thing to do, but if everyone could just trust everyone a bit more and respect everyone a bit more, then people would be more motivated and more inspired to be going to the office.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't feel like they're being watched, or they wouldn't feel like they're being questioned, or they wouldn't feel like they're chained to their desk. Give them the platform to perform. Give them the belief in them. Give them put your belief in them and they'll succeed. If you question them and if you micromanage them and you over control them, then they're going to want to work at home, and they're not going to be happy. But fundamentally, I don't think people are that happy working at home. Not in property. Listen, if you're a journalist and you're working at home, that's a totally different conversation. You've got an article to write. Then you have to sit down in a quiet space and write your article. If you're working in property and you're talking about deals and landlords and clients and tenants and agents and, there's opportunities. There's so much that you cannot do if you're not together.
And you think that's because you think there should just be a little bit more flexibility in the sense of nursery runs or like life happens.
A bit more flexibility,
Yeah.
a bit more trust,
Mm.
and a bit more respect.
Mm.
And yeah, certain people have got to do drop-offs and pickups and just let them do it, and then they'll go back online in the evening. If you give people the opportunity to be a bit more flexible and give them a bit more respect and give them a bit more trust, you'll get so much more back from them.
Yeah. And you'll retain your staff.
100%.
You'll retain your staff. It's obviously it doesn't help our job, but you do retain your staff. And how do you think AI is going to affect recruitment over the next sort of 5-6 years?
I think with AI, like with all businesses,
Mm.
if it's embraced
Mm.
and you use it to your advantage, it will save you time. It will save you. You know, it will improve process. It will streamline process. It's not going to in our world take over. You know, recruiters are still going to exist. Good recruiters will still exist.
Yes.
If you're a recruiter where you just scrape job boards and scrape CVs and don't talk to people and forward them on to clients and ask for a fee, then yes, you're going to be replaced by AI. But if you're a recruiter that builds deep knowledge and asks the right questions and spends time getting to know your clients and meets your candidates and does the full, you know, matching process and screening process, then yeah, if you can use AI, it will really benefit you. It's the same in all industries. I don't think AI should be something that's feared. It should be something that's embraced, and it should be something that you use to your advantage. And that's not just, you know, for like, you know, for my generation, oh, we use ChatGPT. There's so much more. There's so much more that you can use. You know, the kind of 18, 19, 20-year-olds, what they're doing on AI today is so impressive. And there's so much to be learned from them. There's so much to learn from them, and there's so much to teach them, because they come with all the AI knowledge, and the younger generation come with AI, and they come with you know, computer knowledge and software knowledge and tech knowledge. But we have more experience in relationships and people and conversation and communication. Put those two things together, it's a great formula for success.
And that goes back to as well the point of recruiting people outside the industry and bringing new grads in, because they bring a different perspective. Because we've got a candidate shortfall over the last 3 years because not enough trainee candidates are going into the industry.
Yeah.
And you bring in talented individuals who have got the relationship skill sets and also the knowledge of AI and tech.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's great, like TikTok.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a talent war. And because the market's been tough, clients, employers, businesses, big businesses, the bigger businesses who have got, in my opinion, a responsibility to bring in the new talent, have stopped bringing in fresh talents. And then there's a lot less people with kind of 1 to 5 years experience within property. So what's happening now is they're just all taking staff from each other.
Yeah.
They're just all cannibalizing each other's businesses, because they all stopped. All the bigger corporates, they seem to have really slowed down taking on new talent, because they say to you, oh, the market's tough, we need to experienced people. But actually, if the market's tough, there's an argument to say that you need people who have not done it before, who don't come with bad habits, who don't come with preconceived ideas, and who don't come and say to you, oh, when I was there, we did this, and when I was there, we did that. And actually, the market is so much harder now. Bring people in who don't know a good market to a bad market. Bring people in who know how to pick up the phone, build relationships, and sell or let property, and believe in them, back them, support them, enable them, and you'll get so much out of them.
So I've got final 2 questions for you. My first one being is, what advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
I think back to the, you know, partly the conversation earlier, not to over procrastinate. The whole, you know, done is better than perfect is good advice, and to perhaps enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm constantly striving for more and bigger and better and more clients and more deals and so on. And perhaps I don't stop and, you know, ever look back and go, wow, look what you've done, look at what you've achieved, you know, pat myself on the back, perhaps.
Yeah. And that goes back to, I suppose, what you're saying about constantly moving forward. You've always thinking about the next deal. So that makes sense. And then my final question, which I stole from Stephen Bartlett, don't sue me, is, what questions do you have for my next guest? It's Tony Morris, sales trainer.
Ask Tony if he won the lottery, what would he buy himself?
Okay, I'll ask him that. Well, look, Barry, thanks so much for your time today. I really appreciate it, and really enjoyed our chat today.